You ready to see a 100% completion of Bayonetta? Yeah? Cool. Then let's get into it. So a couple of notes here about the 100% of Bayonetta. You're going to need to do at least 3 playthroughs because you got one for each difficulty setting. Time it's going to take is about 25 to 30 hours. I took about 28 hours, so not too bad. And difficulty wise, I gave it a 7 out of 10 because some fights are rough, but you do get some checkpoints, so it's not too bad. And with that said, let's get into it. Pretty standard start, we hit that play button, we hit the new game, we hit the normal mode, and then boom, we're in there, we're ready to get achievements. Let's go. The game begins with angels coming in to attack us. I don't know what we did wrong, but they are not happy. So we fight them on top of this fallen bit of rubble. I don't know what's going on, but we're fighting some angels, it's all good, and then boom, explosions. Turns out that was some kind of flashback. It's very confusing, but you know, we're just gonna go with it. We eventually get to some tutorials, we learn how to fight, we learn how to do some bits and pieces, and then it's on to our first achievements. So we make it to a point in the story where we're having a casual cruise, and then suddenly from behind us the big old plane comes in, crashes behind us. It's a bad time for everyone. And then we get reintroduced to the woman from the beginning. Her name's Jean or something like that. And I'm not really sure if she's a friend or a foe, but you know, there's something going on though. We then fight side by side, fighting off some angels, and I grab my first achievement by activating a torture attack. This is basically a finishing move, and that's a pretty cheeky achievement name, I won't lie. And then shortly after, we obtain the second achievement, which is for dodging 10 attacks at the perfect time to activate Witch Time, which is like a slow motion mechanic. It's pretty cool. But sadly, the achievement pop did distract me, so I didn't hit the last torture attack and failed this section. Very sad times, but it's okay. We'll just go again. So once that section was completed, we hit some sweet poses because, you know, style on them and all that. And then we got our third achievement, which is to complete the vestibule, the prologue. That's in the bag. That's pretty good. And then it was off to Figrid, which is basically a town that we need to go to because we've heard about a stone or something being there, which is supposed to be the right eye. We have the left eye. Apparently you put them together and you get the eyes of the world, which is like a creation thing. I don't know. It was all very confusing, but we got there and fought some more angels, which was pretty good. You know, we did a bit of pole dancing, beat up some more boys. A big boy showed up and he's a big old boy. So we named him Babyface Beloved because his name's Beloved and he has a big old baby face. And then we made it to our next achievement, which was in chapter 2. This runaway train came at us, we jumped over it, boom, achievement time. Easy, right? Didn't even know it was a thing, but we got it. And then we made it to chapter 3 and then this guy was talking a whole load of crap. So we just kicked a rock in his face and sent him on his way. And then the whole town just started erupting in flame and lava and stuff, so I don't know what's going on there, but you know, it's definitely a vibe change. But you know, we made it out the city, dodged all that lava and stuff, and then made it to this Colosseum, which is where we found our first boss fight. It's the same guy that was talking crap earlier. He's still talking crap, so you know, let's put him down. Oh, and he also has a really obnoxious name, so I've decided to call him Fernando for ease. So, you know, we start the fight, we start beating him up, we dodge his attacks, activate the Witch Time, give him a little slap here and there, and then he gets his head stuck on the floor, we slap him up some more. He activates some lava stuff, so we gotta do a quick time event to jump, so we jump across all these little platforms, we grab him, and then off the top rope, suplex that boy. So then we rip off his head, we feed it to the demons from the Inferno. That's a tasty snack. They take it down under. Good stuff for everyone. He's really pissed about this. I don't blame him. I'd be pissed too. So in his anger, he activates a bunch of lava and stuff, turns the whole floor into lava. We grab the Sands of Time, activate that, and reset the whole arena, which is tippity top. And then he does get us with a cheeky fireball, and, you know, puts us down. But it's okay, though. We got the checkpoint. Guess he wasn't expecting that one, huh? So we come back in with a full stick of butter. No worries. We start beating him up, and then, you know, it's suplex time. So off the top rope again, slap him down, rip his head off, feed it to the demons, and he's pissed again. I don't blame him, that's 2 heads down. So he sends out a hefty scream, sends the arena into the sky. I don't know how he managed that, but that breaks apart. We activate Witch Time, so the whole arena stops. And then we got a timer to beat him, so we got about 5 minutes. I'm not too worried about that. Easy stuff, right? So we finally get him, we hit the climax, we give him a spin and just hoy him into the sky. We summon a big bird, that bird comes along, pecks the crap out of him, it's very good stuff. And then we get some more rocks and send them to his face, and he's looking pretty worse for wear. He's pretty messed up, but you know, time to feed the demons, right? And with him dealt with, we got 2 achievements, one for beating Fernando and then one for completing chapters 1 to 4. Very nice stuff. A very fun boss fight. Sadly, I only got a stone award because, you know, I'm not actually very good at this game, but you know, we're getting there. And so we progressed onward and then ran into some boys that I really hate. These guys are like the bane of my life in this game. Yeah, not happy about them. But anyway, we made it to our next achievement, which was the record collector. We found this cheeky chest, opened it up, and we found ourselves another piece of an LP. So that was 3 LPs completed, giving us the achievement, which is very nice. And then we ran into Jean, who was talking to some angels. So again, I'm not sure if we're friends or foes, but we had a little fight. That was pretty good. She's actually pretty tough. I didn't like fighting her. She was a bit awkward. But anyway, we did beat her, and then she turned into a panther and ran away. And then I learned how to be a panther and, you know, speed boosts and stuff. So that's pretty cool. I like to be able to move fast. And then I hit a point in the game where I had to fight 2 Wolverine dudes again. I always hate these fights. And then, but it turns out that once you beat those ones, 2 more spawn. This was, you know, I was here for a while. This was difficult. And it doesn't help that I didn't realize that I had weapons. So it turns out the LPs actually give you weapons. I thought you had to buy them, but it turns out they're actually in your inventory. So, you know, I learned that I can actually equip those. So I got a sword and some claws on my feet. And that made life a lot easier. But let's get to our next achievement, right? It's been a little while since an achievement, so let's get to it. We got to a point in the game where we found this child lost, crying, so then we saved her from some angels and then had to protect her. So we activated some safety bubble, popped her inside, and fought off the remaining angels. Turns out there's an achievement tied to this where you can't let her get hit once. And yeah, I accidentally did it first try. First try? Which is pretty good, pretty good. I'm not going to complain about that one. So apparently I'm this kid's mum. I don't know if that's true or not. It seems a little bit weird. But we take her with us because, we want to make sure she's safe and stuff, right? So we travel with this child for a little bit. And then one of those big baby beloved boys comes in and wants to grab the child. I don't really know why he's so obsessed with her. But he's calling after us. We knock him back. We hit him with the bap, 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 bap. And then he gets stuck in the archway because he's a big old boy. We jumped through a portal to go into his realm, went back to deal with him. Then he casts Comet 2 from Final Fantasy 7 and absolutely wrecks me up. We go back, he gets 3, he picks up the child. He seems to kind of like her, which is interesting. So he holds her in his mouth while he fights me, right? So we have a big old fight. I beat him up, activate the climax, and summon this big old dragon boy. The dragon boy grabs him and then he looks at the little girl in my arms, reaching out. He's sad. The sad music's playing. He's broken-hearted. That heart gets broken. And then a big old chomp. You're done, boy. This is my child. Get away from me. And then we finished up that chapter and then went to the shop. We bought a nice little cheeky upgrade, a little technique, and then got the achievement for buying 3 techniques, which is very good. And then we make it to our next boss. He's a little bit creepy. He starts talking about my eyes and stuff. I'm not sure how I feel about that. So I throw a big dog at him. He's completely unfazed by that. He just looks at me like, what was that? What are you doing? And then the fight begins. First phase was pretty easy. You just had to basically destroy his fingertips whenever you put them on my little floating rock there. Avoid some attacks, beat those up, and then we were good. Then he comes in with a big punch. We evade that. We jump onto his arm. We run all the way up his arm, and then we beat up his little spot thing that's on his armpit, I guess, maybe. And then we summon the boys, who then proceed to hold him down and rip off one of his arms. Pretty good stuff. We then proceed to do the same again on the other side. We basically destroy that little spot thing, weird thing, and then summon the boys. They come in, he tries to dodge them or slap them away, whatever he was trying to do, but he gets a big old gut punch, and then the boys like, oi, hold him down, yeah? Let's get his other arm. And that's exactly what they do. They rip off the other arm and he's left armless. Bad times for him, but good times for me. We then continue destroying more of these spot nipple things that he's got on him, and then we reach the final phase, which he shows me that long ass neck. Look at that boy. What is going on there? But he's pissed. He starts sending lasers around. He activates a laser on his head, does a big old 360. It looks a little bit silly, I'm not gonna lie. He's like some kind of like rotating tap. We mess him up pretty good, and then finally we get him down and activate that climax. Summon in the boys, and they hold him down and just go to town. They just start waiting on him. Get wrecked, boy. And then they gave him the big old donk and put that neck where it belongs. He's seriously messed up, but we throw yet another dog at him. This hits a tanker, that hits his face. He goes down onto the floor, and then it's feeding time for the demons in the Inferno. So, you know, good times for everyone apart from him, because he sucks. And then it's time for the achievements. We get one for beating the boss, and then we also get one from completing chapters 5 to 8, which is very nice. We then find ourselves on a highway. We grab ourselves a bike, and as Bayonetta says, we go for a vroom vroom. We make our way through this level, and then we get a pure platinum medal, which was very nice. And it also gives us our achievement for getting 10 platinum medals. I wasn't sure if this meant verses or chapters, so I'm kind of glad it wasn't chapters, because I've been getting nothing but stone statues and bronze statues really. So yeah, that was quite nice to see. We end up falling into a portal, and I think we end up in Paradise. I think that's what it's called. It's basically like the angel homeworld. It's basically heaven, right? So we end up there, and then we grab our next achievement, which is to activate Witch Time 10 times consecutively, one after the other. And this is like the best place to do it. Basically, you get to a point where this boulder is going to chase you, right? But then there's like lightning strikes on your way down. And yeah, there's more than 10, and it's quite easy to avoid them. So yeah, if you want that achievement, this is the best place to do it. And then we reached a point in the game where we found these vines where there's an achievement tied to it to destroy all the vines as you pass through, which is a lot harder than it looks. I thought I could get this pretty easily, but the timing's really strange. And I had a couple of times where I literally hit them all and missed the last one, which was so sad. But we eventually got it. It wasn't too bad once you get the hang of things. But yeah, it was nice to get that one done. It took me a good half an hour or so, but you know, it's alright. What I found worked for me on this was I paid attention to the one after the one I was about to hit, so I can move myself into position. And then we made it to the end of the chapter, and I needed to put this in because this is probably one of the best climaxes in the game. Basically, once you beat the golem and stuff and activate the climax, they all start playing volleyball, right? It's a good time. Everyone's having a good time, you know. And then someone misses, and it goes really quiet and awkward. And then, of course, the volleyball gets to blame, right? And everyone starts beating the absolute crap out of it. It's very good. And as we're progressing through the game some more, we get another achievement, which is to activate 50 torture attacks, which is very nice. You know, you're going to get that eventually, but it's nice to see pop up. Very good stuff. And then we found our first Alfheim portal, which was pretty difficult. I just had to use Wicked Weaves, and I wasn't really sure how to use those without doing a combo, which was, you know, confusing. But there's a couple of moves that you can do. You can press down, forward, and like punch or kick, and that would activate a Wicked Weave if you've got magic. But the best combo that I found was pressing punch, kick, and then punch, which will cause a Wicked Weave to happen at the end. You don't even have to hit the enemies to do it, so you can just kind of do that quickly on the fly. It made it a lot easier, and actually improved my whole gameplay because, you know, I just started abusing this this combo, I'm not gonna lie. And while doing this Alfheim portal, I somehow got the Come Here Little Boy achievement, which is to taunt and anger 5 enemies and kill them without being hit. I don't really get how I did that because I didn't taunt or whatever, but apparently they got pissed at me and I put them down. So, you know, free achievement. I'll take it. We also got pure platinum on that portal as well, which is pretty spicy. But anyway, it was on to the next boss. So here we go. This boss was interesting. It was just a big ball of faces, tentacles, and vines or whatever. This boss was pretty easy, I won't lie. So basically, it came at me with some vines and a face that was attached to its tongue or something, and yeah, so it was a case of just, you know, dodging the vine, slap up the face, jump on top of the tongue, run down the tongue, get to the main body's face, drop kick it in the nose, cut off the tongue. Repeat this about 3 times. He gets pretty mad about this. He sends it full force straight into me. I counter, hit him with the climax, summon the big old centipede. He's a new boy, but he looks pretty ferocious. He wraps him up, gives him a tight squeeze, and then he's looking pretty messed up. And then it's feeding time. Feeding time for the demons in the Inferno. And yeah, as easy as that, really. But that gives us another 2 achievements. So we got the achievement for beating the boss, like always. And then we got the achievement for completing chapters 8 to 11 on normal, which is always very nice. And then we found ourselves stuck on a plane, but in this plane we found another treasure chest, which unlocked the achievement Treasure Collector, which is to collect half of these treasure chests, which is pretty good, pretty good. I think they're like burial sites of like umbral witches or something like that. But Somehow, we got the achievement. And then boom, we're straight into another boss fight. This guy looks like a bit of a lizard. He likes the water. He's a swimming boy. He takes a swipe at us. We jump onto some debris and then we, you know, surfs up, bro. So we start surfing about, slapping up the faces on the sides of his like legs and whatnot, and then it's climax time. So then we summon this big spider boy, and I guess this boss doesn't like spiders because he kind of craps himself a little bit, turns around, tries to run away. We catch up to him, jump on his back, and then just, you know, rein him in. Turn him around, we get the fists on him, we turn him around, and we direct him straight into the big spider boy, and he takes a good tasty chomp. And then we just continue beating him up. He's got a face on the front now, so that's our main target. We just dodge his attacks. He kind of goes underneath the water, tries to take a tasty little chomp out of us. We say no thank you. We get to the climax again. We rein him in again. We punch him in the back of the head because he tries to be a cheeky boy and escape from my grasp. Punch him again, don't worry about it. And then, yeah, he gets nibbled again, so, you know, it's all good. He then gets mad, he dives under the water. He creates a kind of whirlpool kind of situation and then turns into like a blender. He's got some like weird tentacle laser stuff, but you know, he gives blender mode. We get up close and personal. We slap him up. Don't worry about it. He takes a little nibble. We dodge that, see in a bit, slap him up some more, and then you probably guessed it. It's that climax time again. We summon the spider boy again. He's in the bottom of the whirlpool behind the boy. He tries to swim away. He tries to get away. He falls, caught in the web. Sad times for him. A bunch of baby spider boys come along, and they just all nibble him and just rip him to pieces. And then with him being limbless, there's nowhere for him to go. He gets devoured by the demons from the Inferno. And then that's the boss completed and achievement time. So we get the achievement to beat the boss. And then we also get the achievement for completing chapters 12 and 13. Very tasty. And then we began chapter 14. Now these first two verses in chapter 14 do have achievements tied to them. You got to get platinum on both of them. And this is going to be pretty difficult, I think, because I only got silvers. Yeah. So we'll come back to this one. We'll do this one a bit later. Alright. We then meet up with Jean again and have a good old fight. She's in the white outfit now. She's looking a bit spicy with it. She throws a missile at me. I throw it back. It's a game of hot potato. Who's going to win? But eventually we get Jean, so sit down. So this fight had several stages. We ended up fighting on the side of a building. We ended up fighting on the missile. And then we eventually landed on the balcony. We had a good fight there. It got really close. I thought she was going to kill me. Turns out I still had a red hot shot, which was very nice. It was like an instant heal, instant revive. So the fight continued. And we eventually took her out, which I was very happy about. She was a bit difficult. I'm not going to lie. This then led to us finding the big bad guy. He's called Father Boulder. He's taken the child from us. We still had the child, by the way. Turns out that it wasn't our child. It was actually a little version of us. It's a whole story thing. I'm not going to get too much into it because it's a whole thing. But, yeah, he then absorbs her and puts her in his chest. It was very strange. It was very odd. But, you know, we then had to fight him. So, you know, we start beating him up and all that kind of stuff. He doesn't like that he's losing, so he starts activating his ion cannon, which is fantastic. Nice one, GDI, helping them out. But it's no use because we dodged that with the greatest of ease. We then summon our dragon boy, who he kills, by the way, which is pretty sad. We then follow this up by summoning up the centipede boy. He wraps him up, he gives him a squeeze, but then he explodes and kills our centipede. So again, these are my boys. He's killing them off. I'm pretty sad about it, but you know. We hit him with the third and final climax, but this time there's no demon boy being summoned. We're just loading this pistol with a lipstick. We fire that off. We activate some bullet time stuff. We fly the lipstick straight into his forehead. This is what kills him. It's kind of crazy, but apparently lipsticks to the forehead, that's super effective. So, you know, he goes down. So then something activates within us. We're in a lot of pain. Turns out it's the left eye activating, which is that gemstone on our chest or whatever. And apparently Father Boulder's back up, and this is all part of the plan to activate my eye or whatever. And then, yeah, he takes me and him, and he flies into a statue, and now we're both in the statue's eyes, the left and the right, which makes sense. Which then makes the eyes of the world, which is some creator stuff, and he's going to create some godly BM to recreate the world or something. Something along those lines. Yeah. All I know and care about is the fact that I got the achievement for defeating Father Boulder, which is very nice. Followed by another achievement, which was to purchase all the techniques from the store, which is, you know, spending that money. Pretty good. And then we began the final mission, and the whole tower that we were on just took off. It's a rocket, by the way. The statue's on top, so, you know, that's going into space, which is pretty good stuff. It was then up to Jean to get on that motorcycle and chase that rocket. So she jumps onto the rocket, starts driving up the rocket. It's a really long rocket, by the way. It's kind of strange. But we do some quick time events. We jump across some platforms. We get to the statue. We climb up the statue. We get to Bayonetta. We pull her out of the eye. We tell her to wake up. She doesn't wake up. We tell her again. She wakes up. And then this godly being appears, and, you know, it's final boss time. So let's get to it. She tries to give us that bonk and a donk, but we say, nah, witch time activated. We then slap up the hand, and then she activates phase 2. Everything turns to lava. We run around, slap up some medallion kind of things. We then finally reach her face, we slap that up, she cries about it, she gets pissed, she activates phase 3, which is like a frozen wasteland kind of type deal. And this section is really annoying because you just get frozen and you can kind of get stun locked into being frozen and dying, which happened to me a couple of times, which is really unfortunate. But we finally made it to her and we slapped her up again, slapped her right in the face, she gets sad about it, she lays on the floor, I slap her up some more because, you know, this is no time for snoozing. And then she activates phase 4, which is some thunder type deal, so we just gotta jump platform to platform, destroy all the medallion kind of things or whatever they are. And then we made it to her face and slapped her face up again some more. She went for yet another snooze, so I said it's time to wake up, slapped her up some more, and then she, then she got real mad. She then proceeded to summon some solar systems to attack me, I guess. Is that what they are? And when that didn't work, she summoned a black hole, which kind of sucked. But we avoided all of that and managed to activate our climax. And this created a pathway up to her to, you know, beat her up some more. But sadly for me, I never actually made it up. Got grabbed, and grabbed again. And then the hair Walkgrave thing disappeared. So, you know, that's pretty sad. But I finally got enough damage in to activate the finishing climax, which we summoned this absolute queen. She wound up, gave it a big old punch, the big bang bonus, 10,000 halos, big punch to the face. See you in a bit. She goes flying. We then have to take control and direct her to the sun. I did not realize this. I just sent her to the closest moon because I was done with her. But if you do that, she just wakes up and comes straight for you, and then it's game over. Sad times for me. But luckily you get a checkpoint right there, so we just did it again. Made sure we got her to the sun this time, and then that was it. That was game over. That was the boss defeated. And then we bagged ourselves 3 achievements. 1 for beating the boss, 1 for completing the game on normal, and 1 for completing chapters 14 to the epilogue on normal. Very good stuff. Nice achievement dump. Very good. And then we got a nice congratulations screen, which is very nice. Before we began the hard mode run, we began chasing some achievements. So the first one that we went for was to do with the moon of Mahakala, which is an accessory you can buy for 200,000 halos, and it's linked to 3 achievements, so a pretty important accessory to get your hands on, which basically allows you to parry and counter attacks, which is going to be very useful in the future. But we grabbed the first achievement for this item, which is to avert 10 attacks. The other 2 achievements are to do with countering attacks, which is essentially perfect parrying and activating a witch time off of the parry. Which I didn't do just yet. I kind of let that build up over the course of like getting other achievements, so we'll see those a bit later on. But as you can see, we did grab the nice and relaxed achievement, which is the avert 10 attacks, which is very nice. Following this, I felt like it was a good time to get all the Alfheim gates completed, because I realized you get the broken witch hearts to increase your health and the broken moon pearls to increase your magic levels. Both of these items will be pretty important when you're looking at doing hard modes and stuff like that. So these Alfheim gates are scattered throughout the game, and they consist of 9 different types of challenges that, you know, you're going to bump into, and I'm going to show you what each of them are right now. So the first one that we bumped into was Stay in the Air, which was a little bit tricky, but I did end up figuring it out that you can just jump on some boys' heads and shoot down, jump on it again and shoot down, and then you can stay up for as long as you want, really. You just got to make sure to actually jump when you get close to that, so I wasn't doing that at first, and I was wondering why I couldn't jump on their heads. So yeah, not too bad. So the second type of challenge you'll face is to use angel arms, which is pretty simple. Just grab the weapons and slap some boys up. So a good chunk of these challenges will be combat related, but with a little twist. So you'll get some that will be just use witch time only to do damage, which is pretty simple. Dodge and attack, pretty easy stuff, right? And then the next one, you might have limited kicks and punches. With this one, I'd recommend doing the triangle, circle, not triangle, circle. The punch, kick, punch combo, but hold the kick, because then you get this big charge move, which adds a bunch of damage. It's very nice. And this kind of combo is going to be useful for all these challenges, the combat ones, because when you got to use wicked weaves only, the punch kick punch combo will end in a wicked weave, so you can just get damage from that. So it's pretty quick, pretty easy, very nice. And then defeat all enemies, pretty simple stuff. Just basically mash that combo and just kill your enemies. I mean, if you know better combos, then go ahead. But this is the one that I used. And then witch type disabled, pretty much the same kind of deal. Just don't get hit, dodge that stuff, and just, you know, use that same combo. Punch, kick, punch. Easy stuff. And then the outer body battle is kind of tough because you gotta protect yourself. If they hit this dome, then you're losing life, and you can only get hit 5 times or 3 times sometimes. But yeah, use the same combo. It knocks them away from the dome if they get to attack it. And yeah, eventually you'll get there. It took me a couple tries, but it wasn't too bad. We got there in the end. Now, when it comes to doing torture attacks, the best way to build up your magic meter to get your torture attacks is just by taunting them. It builds up meter pretty quickly, and it doesn't kill them, because I found like I was killing them and not building enough magic meter. So the taunt strat worked out pretty well for me, and hopefully it'll work out quite well for you as well. And then we got to the point where we completed half of the Alfheim gates. Angel May Cry, very good stuff. And then I finished up the remaining Alfheim gates, got to the last one, did a bunch of torture attacks, got the last one in. I mean, we had 5 seconds left, so I figured, you know, we're good, we're gonna get it. And I messed up my combo, flew up in the air. Very sad times, but I did manage to get that final hit with 0.09 seconds remaining. Crazy stuff, but I'm glad it's done. After completing all the portals, we moved on to a few more achievements. So the first achievement we tried to get was to tread not so softly. I realised that using the claws on my feet did no damage when I jumped on people's heads, so I had to swap those for some pistols, and then yeah, we got it pretty easily after that. And then we started progressing on the deepest cut achievement, which is basically get the katana out, hold down Y, and just charge that move until people die. Easy stuff, right? And then it was on to the higher and higher achievements. So basically all we had to do with this one is equip that whip, jump in the air and hold down that punch button, and just keep grabbing enemies until you grab 10. Once you've grabbed 10, then you should get the achievement higher and higher. Pretty easy stuff, right? Not too bad. Also really useful for the portal challenges when you gotta stay in the air for so long. And then we finally hit the 20th counter attack, which gave us the achievement Touch and It Will Hurt. Very nice stuff though. Then I made a focus to get the 3 back-to-back, which is, you know, it's fun to do, but it was a little bit difficult because the timing's a little bit strange, but yeah, enough practice, you can do it. So yeah, we got the Touch and It Will Really Hurt achievement, which is very nice. And then we finished our achievement collection before doing hard mode with double toil and trouble, which is to create 20 concoctions, so basically craft 20 items. So after picking up a couple of those achievements, I figured it was best to start the hard mode run. We may pick up a few more achievements along the way, such as some of the collectibles that I was missing. We might stumble across them, you know what I mean? And as far as hard mode goes, I wasn't sure what to expect. My normal assumption is that enemies are going to have more health, do a bit more damage, that kind of thing. But nope, this game started chucking late game enemies at me in the beginning, so I was fighting things from like chapter 9 and 10 in the prologue, which is very interesting. And during the hard mode run, we did pick up the Wicked Weaver achievement, as well as the Wicked Weave Master, which is to execute 20 Wicked Weave attacks using the dodge offset. Sadly, I lost the achievement pop footage of this, so we're going to leave this here, but yeah, we picked it up along the way. And then we continued on through the game, fighting some big boy enemies, took those out, and then we made it to the Colosseum ready to fight the big boy. We got him on the top rope again, we gave him that suplex, ripped his head off, and then we summoned in that big bird, he pecked him up, dived through him, finishing him off, and then we got that big boy achievement, New Testament, chapter 1 to 4, on hard mode, pretty good stuff. So then we just continued progressing through the story, you know, beating up some boys here, beating up some boys there, no worries, good stuff. The new combos I picked up from doing all the portal challenges definitely helped out a whole bunch, as well as all the health and magic like level up, so that's always good. And then we eventually made it to the big boss boy. We beat him up, broke his finger, jumped on his arm, ran up his arm, broke his little spot nipple thing, and then tore his arms off. That's pretty good. And then it was up to his face, so we started beating up his face a little bit. He grabbed me with his mouth, which was didn't realize he did that, but we shook him off, kicked him in the face, beat him up some more, and hit that climax. And then yeah, punched his neck back down where it belongs. And that was the end of him and a new achievement for us. The New Testament, chapter 5 to 7 on hard mode. Very good, very good, very good. And then I ran into probably my hardest fight so far. These three guys were pretty difficult. I mean, I'm not a fan of these Wolverine type dudes anyway, but these guys you can activate Witch Time, which makes them even more awkward. And I mean, it doesn't help that, you know, there's lorries and stuff driving about and hit me and stuff. So, you know, it was a bit awkward, it was a bit difficult, but we got there in the end. We finished them off. Not too shabby. And then we went for a quick bike ride, basically sliding into the next area, which was another fight with these Wolverine type dudes. But this time we got a big bull that's like knocking us out and, you know, stunning us, causing us to get hit. If this is annoying for you, then this little ledge up here, jump up on here. This bull can't chase you. He's an idiot and won't come up here, which is very nice. Makes it a lot easier to deal with. So, you know, activate the next boy and just run straight back up there. And, you know, it's going to be a lot easier. See what I mean? Easy stuff. And then it was on to the third boss fight. Pretty easy stuff, you know. We just beat up his little face, jump on his little tongue, neck thing, run down, kick him in the face, chop him up, cut him again, and boosh. And then he just throws his head at you. You block that, climax all over him, punch him in the face, give him a little squeeze, and he's done. And that's achievement time, by the way. So chapter 8 to 11 on hard mode. Good stuff. We had a couple of tasty fights on the plane, but, you know, we made short work of them, got through them pretty easily, and then it was on to the next boss. He's the water guy. So yeah, this guy's not too bad, same as normal. Just surf on up to him, hit his faces on the side of his legs and stuff, get rid of him, get rid of that one, get rid of this one, and this one, and this one, and then you can climax. So you just drag him to the spider, but turns out I missed my counter. He threw me off. I had to kill another face. It's pretty sad times, but, you know, we got that, climaxed again, jumped on him, hit the counter, punched him in the back of the head, dug it through the spider for a little nibble. Oh yeah. And then we just beat up his face again, climax. He had a triple nibble this time. He's a cheeky boy. He's a hungry boy. Then he turned into a blender type dude again, so we swam down, got to him, punched him in the face a bit more. He threw a fireball, but we dodged that. Don't worry about that. Give him a little taste of that. Yeah, mate. And then it's climax time. Little spider boys, rip them apart. Good stuff. And it's achievement time. New Testament, chapter 12 to 13 on hard mode. Pretty nice. We then had to put down Jean again, which wasn't too difficult. A little combo here and a little combo there. And then we parried a missile like an absolute unit. No problem. The fight continued and we finally put her down. Easy stuff. And then on our way to Boulder, we found the last note we needed while climbing the tower. The achievement didn't pop, but once we opened the notes to find them all completed, we got that satisfying pop sound, and boom, achievement time. Then it was time to deal with Daddy Boulder. He was up to his usual tricks, throwing buildings at me taking him on the chin because why not, and also the fact I can't hit those quick time events, but it's okay. He of course uses that ion cannon, but eventually he's dealt with and takes that super effective lipstick to the forehead and he's done. We moved on to the final chapter, got on that bike, bombed it up the rocket and the statue to reach Bayonetta, and the final fight begins. We get through the first few phases fairly easily now that we know what we're doing. But we do get transformed into a child by those solar system things, and this godly being started trying to take out this small child, but I luckily returned to normal in time to dodge and activate that witch time, and melted her fist, resulting in me activating the climax. This created that hair walkway. We tried to make our way up again. We got grabbed once and then twice. We risked it for the chocolate biscuit and managed to get over the first grab, and then the second. Made it to the top where we delivered that finishing blow. The climax was activated and the big old woman wound up that big bang bonus, punched her straight in the face and sent her to the sun, and that was the end of that, unlocking 2 achievements, one for finishing the last couple of chapters on hard and the other for completing the game on hard. Very nice stuff. Doing the hard mode run unlocked the Infinite Climax mode, which will be the final playthrough we need to do. Also, we got a cheeky LP, which, you know, that's always tasty. Before going for the Infinite Climax run, we decided to clear up a couple of achievements first. To start, we found the last LP piece to complete our 7th LP, netting us the Record Fanatic achievement, which also rewards us with a new weapon, a pair of skis, which are tied to another achievement to freeze 20 enemies, which we got right into. We went back to the prologue and worked our way through freezing each enemy we found and finally got that achievement and celebrated with a nice little spin. What do you think? Pretty good, right? After this, it was time to go for an achievement I wasn't looking forward to, which was the achievement to get a platinum medal on first 1 and 2 in chapter 14, which is kind of like a mini game. You know, you're on a rocket, all the enemies are flying towards you. It's kind of like old arcade style spaceship shooter kind of deals. But yeah, this achievement was fairly difficult. I tried several times, but often got a gold medal, but we managed to get first 1 platinumed. But sadly, that was the easy part. First 2 was quite a bit more difficult, but we got there in the end. Took me having to do a perfect no damage run to obtain the platinum medal. I just couldn't get my combo points high enough to be rewarded with a platinum. But that was done, and the relief and sense of achievement was phenomenal. With those achievements in the bag, all that was left was to find all the treasures and the Infinite Climax run. So we began our final run through on Infinite Climax mode with the intention to find more treasures on our way. Now what made Infinite Climax mode different and more difficult is the fact that witch time is disabled, so no more slow motion free damage, making the game a lot more fast paced and punishing. Alongside this, the damage seems to be increased, which is never good. We came up against our first challenge very early, trying to complete the torture attack section in the beginning. This was very painful without witch time and having these Wolverine type dudes all over me. But we did finally make it with the assist of the purple lollipop, giving us the last bit of magic needed for our last torture attack. This took me a fair bit, so I was glad to get past this section. It's not a good start, but you know, we'll push on. I'm sure we can do it. Our next challenge was the first fight with Jean. Her damage output was pretty deadly, and the fact I didn't have my usual weapons in this fight felt like my damage wasn't optimized. She took us down far too many times than I'd like to reveal. But persistence won and we finally got her. We then continued on pretty smoothly after these difficulties to get to the first boss fight, and of course we gave him that suplex from the top rope, summoned that bird, and took him out without too much trouble. Progress went pretty well after taking out Fernando, and we made it to the next boss, who was quite easy to deal with. We basically broke his fingers, destroyed his spots, ripped off those arms, and then we dealt with this long-necked boy. He did his usual spin and tried to grab me with his disgusting tongue. We told him to put that away, and then, you know, we hit that climax, punched his neck back where it belongs, and continued onward. We continued onward and straight into the hardest fight yet. We bumped into 3 Wolverine dudes on a busy road, so not only did we have to watch for them and dodge them, but we also had to dodge the cars. You know, you shouldn't be playing in traffic, but we did, and it was making life pretty difficult, I'm not gonna lie. So as you can imagine, I died a good amount of times, but we did manage it with the help of those magic flute things. Completely forgot about them, but I actually had a few, and they came in clutch. And then we moved onward and found that last treasure chest, popping that achievement for finding them all, which was very ideal as I did not want to have to run through the game again to find the last remaining couple of chests. Progress continued. We took out the next couple of bosses who didn't put up much of a fight. Just gave them the good old bonk and a donk and finished them with the climax and fed them to the demons, and we were good to continue onward into yet another challenging fight, the final fight with Jean. And yes, she made my life pretty painful, I'm not gonna lie. She taught me a lesson or two, I'll tell you that much. But persistence is key, especially when you keep taking a missile to the face because you can't seem to react to quick time events. So I figured I could just stop mashing the buttons when I heard her click, and that worked a treat. So yeah, that works. But yeah, we got to the final phase and hit that finishing blow, and Jean was done for the last time, the most painful time, but we got there, and yeah, we can move onward. Then we took down Father Boulder. He was pretty weak when you compare him to Jean, but you know, he was up to his usual tricks. He did throw that building at me, but we did manage to actually hit that quick time event with a new mashing strat. And yeah, this resulted in Bayonetta headbutting it straight back at him, which actually finished him off, and then, you know, super effective lipstick to the forehead finished him off. That ended him. Then it was time to jump on that bike, take a little trip up the rocket, up the statue, save Bayonetta, and activate that final fight for the final time. The first couple of attempts on this boss went pretty poorly. We couldn't even make it past phase 1 because the damage output on this boss was insane, and without witch time it was pretty hard to actually like get some good damage going. Yeah. as you can see, she hits me with 2 ice ball attacks, and my whole health bar is just gone. It's gone. You know, that's the kind of damage we were dealing with. So as you can imagine, we died a good amount of times, but we did manage to get through phase 1, which was very nice to do. And then, you know, she jumped everything to fire, we climbed to her, we beat her face, and then she made everything to ice. I was really worried about getting caught by an ice ball attack or whatever. But we dodged those pretty smoothly. Pretty good stuff, right? We made it to her face and gave that face a cheeky combo. She got mad, turned ethnical electrical instead. We jumped about a bit, made it to her face again, slapped that face up one more time. She got mad again, and then it was phase 4. This is, you know, the solar system phase, so this phase was always good fun. So we made our way through this phase, and then somehow we got this final hit on her hand. She's coming for a punch, and somehow we hit her mid-punch. I don't know how it happened, but I'm going to take it because that allowed us to hit that climax and create that hair walkway. We made our way up, we tied her up, we punched her in the face a good 3 times. And then it was final climax time. We hit it. We summoned the big old girl. She wound up the punch. Big bang bonus. See you in a bit. Send her to the sun. The infinite climax mode was completed, and we got ourselves that achievement, Legendary Dark Witch. Very satisfying thing to do. This was a difficult run to get through, but we got there, and that's 100% completion of Bayonetta. What do you think? Well, the game thinks that my skills are truly magical, so, you know, it doesn't matter what you think. The game told me I'm magical. And then for completing Infinite Climax mode, we got the extra bonus LP, which is very nice. And it turns out that this item was actually a lightsaber called Pillow Talk. Look at that boy. So we had to go give that a spin. We equipped that and went back to the prologue and slapped up some boys. Because, you know, you gotta give it a try, right? It's basically like the katana though, so it wasn't that special. But still pretty cool. But yeah, that is it for now. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the journey. If you did, why not hit that like button, comment down below, tell me all about it. And if you want to see more 100% completion videos, then hit the subscribe button because, you know, there's going to be more on the way. I don't know what's next, but, you know, subscribe and you'll find out. But yeah, that's it for now. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. Nice one.